We're counting down the top 10 most extreme lovers in the animal kingdom and comparing them to how humans play the dating game. Discover that love's not enough when courtship's taken to the most extreme.
Earth is a planet of extremes. Extreme places. And extreme animals. But some animals are more extreme than others. Join us as we count down to find the most unusual and the most extraordinary on Animal Planet's The Most Extreme. Number 10.
The countdown begins with perhaps the most unlovable lover in the world. The Tasmanian devil is notoriously bad-tempered. He lives alone because he'll fight any devil he meets, including a potential mate. This male sniffed out the location of a female, but he approaches her lair with extreme caution. Tasmanian devils are number 10 in the countdown because when it comes to courtship, these guys make war, not love. The Tasmanian devil really pushes the battle of the sexes to the extreme. Their courtship may be short and violent, but it's enough to establish them as a couple. Tasmanian devils are extreme lovers because they really are a match made in hell. Having won over the she-devil with his fighting spirit, the male continues to court her with love bites and licks. Unlike Tasmanian devils, humans usually take a more subtle approach to dating. But biologically speaking, there's still a battle when a man meets a woman. That's because men and women have very different needs. According to evolutionary theory, a woman is looking for the kind of man who can protect and provide for her and her children. Unfortunately, men are looking to sow their genetic seed as widely as possible, and so they're searching for mates with high reproductive potential. These conflicting evolutionary imperatives mean that sometimes men and women can look for love in all the wrong people. That's why humans and animals put so much effort into courting. By investing time and effort in courtship, it gives both males and females the chance to see if your date has what it takes to be the partner of your dreams. Few people would dream about relationships if their partner was like a Tasmanian devil. After 3 days, Even the she-devil has had enough of her male chauvinist mate. The honeymoon is definitely over. Perhaps the she-devil could take a lesson from the next contender, where the girls ganged up on the guys and drove them to extinction.
Number 9.
In the deserts of Arizona, some sisters are doing it for themselves. At number 9 in the countdown are whiptail lizards. Every single one of these lizards is female. There are no males. It seems an extreme solution to the problem of finding the perfect man. But these lizards need males about as much as fish need bicycles. They're number 9 in the countdown because they don't have to waste time looking for the perfect guy. They can lay fertile eggs without the hassle of sex. Evolution may have banished the male whiptail to the great singles bar in the sky, but human males may not be far behind them. Some women and movie makers have fantasized about a world without men.
Our own men are never coming back. Do you want to live here the rest of your life without any men at all? Wouldn't be like you. Shut up!
But the scary truth is that we all may soon be living in a world without any fertile men. In the last 30 years, human sperm counts have fallen by 50%. The creepy part is that decreased male fertility could be caused by something in the water. Sometimes our drinking water comes from rivers containing recycled sewage. We've been able to filter out all the waste, but not all the female hormones from the millions of contraceptive pills taken each day. Scientists have shown that when women take the pill, only about 20% of the female hormones in the contraceptive are used by the body. The remaining 80% are flushed out into our drinking water. Some scientists believe that this may be contributing to the drop in men's sperm count, and so making us more like whiptail lizards every day. But not even these lizards have completely forgotten about the guys in their life. They can't lay their eggs until one female gets hit by a surge of testosterone and starts acting like a male. Fortunately, the effects are temporary and wear off before she starts sitting in front of the TV, drinking beer, and watching football.
While some girls just want to have fun with that old devil called love. Coming up, your heart will melt as we dance with the animals that put the S into sex appeal. That's next on Animal Planet's The Most Extreme. Number 8.
On the Indonesian island of Sulawesi, the next contender in our countdown of extreme courtship is the crested black macaque. These primates are number 8 in the countdown because when it comes to courtship, there's only one thing on a male's mind, and that's the female's rear end. When female macaques are in the mood for love, their buttocks get bigger. Much bigger. For in the macaque mating game, size really does matter. Macaques use their bottoms as a sexual signal. When a female is in heat, her fleshy red rump fills with fluid. This is her way of standing out from the crowd so she can attract a mate. But macaques are not the only creatures to have focused on their fanny. Unlike macaques, women have gone to extreme lengths to try to reduce the size of their bottoms. But why? Some anthropologists think that, like other primates, our buttocks are a sexual signpost. It's just that, unlike macaques, we're always in the mood for love, and so our bottoms stay swollen all the time. Just think of the millions of dollars that could be saved each year if we were more like macaques. After all, if macaques went to the gym, they'd be wanting to make their butts bigger, not smaller.
If you've fallen in love with cheeky macaques, lady lizards, and dueling devils, coming up, you'll discover there's something very fishy about one male and his love of muscles. That's next on Animal Planet's The Most Extreme. Number 7.
When it comes to extreme courting in the parched lands of India, one animal really knows how to shake his tail feather. The peacock is number 7 in our countdown of extreme lovers. But before the male can strut his stuff, he's got to catch the eye of his date. He knows the best way to a peahen's heart is through her stomach, so he pretends he's found a huge pile of seeds. Having got her on the move, it's time to make some moves of his own. The peacock is number 7 because of his enormous appendage. That tail is more than 8 feet wide and contains over 200 feathers. It's an eye-catching display, but it puts a lot of pressure on the male. Sure, he may look good for the girls, but all that extra weight makes it harder to fly and easier to be caught by hungry tigers. But for the male, it's worth the risk because peahens love a bit of tail, especially those bright blue eye spots. For it seems that the more eye spots on the tail, the better the lover. Scientists have discovered that chicks sired by fathers with lots of eye spots grew faster and survived longer in the wild. But it's not only peacocks that try to dazzle females with their plumage. Human males also go to extreme lengths to attract a mate. Men may not have tails, but they do place a great deal of importance on their hair. One survey showed that almost 70% of men think that bald guys are unattractive. But there's hope for bald men. Only 30% of women felt that a lack of hair was unattractive. But there may be another reason why there's always been a market for hair restorers. Once, long hair was thought to be a source of masculine strength. Just ask Samson, Samson was the strongest man in the world until the wicked Delilah stole his mojo with a pair of scissors. While Samson discovered that strength can be hair today and gone tomorrow, the peacock has no such worries. But not even this extreme show-off can match the muscles on our next contender.
Number 6.
For some males, looking good can be hard work. Especially when your potential partner likes muscles. Lots of muscles. For the animal at number 6 in the countdown, big muscles are also a big deal. But these muscles are found at the bottom of a pond. This is a freshwater mussel. In the most bizarre courtship of the countdown, this clam is seduced by a fish. The male European bitterling makes love to the mussel. He dances around it, getting it used to his presence so that it doesn't automatically close up its shell when he gets too close. Then the fish dances to attract a female, but she's only got eyes for his muscle. If she likes the look of the fish and his shellfish, then she'll produce her exceptionally long egg-laying tube. Then both fish actually mate with the mussel. He fertilizes the eggs she's laid inside the shellfish. For these fishes, having big muscles is vital. But in human courtship, how important is it to be big and buff? Most men think that muscles are very impressive. But according to a recent study, men and women have radically different ideas about what's attractive in a mate. Scientists asked a group of men what features they thought women found most attractive on the male body. Most thought a powerful, muscular chest would be a turn-on. Others thought muscular arms would be hot. And many believed that women would focus on their private parts. But then, scientists asked a group of women the same question, and the response was overwhelming. By far, the most attractive part of a man was his bottom. Nobody really cared about muscular arms or powerful chest and shoulders. And his unmentionables were almost unmentioned. The female bitterling's choice of the male with the biggest muscle makes perfect sense, for the shellfish is a high-security incubator, meaning that her eggs can hatch in safety. Once they're spat out, the baby bitterlings begin the search for some big muscles of their own.
If you thought fish that make love to mussels were popular with the fans, just wait till you see people doing the real funky chicken. And discover that the path to true love is never easy. for the contenders coming up next on Animal Planet's The Most Extreme. Number 5.
Flying in to number 5 in the countdown of extreme lovers are cranes. These demoiselle cranes have just crossed the Himalayas to reach their breeding grounds in Europe. But flying over the highest mountains on Earth is easy compared to the moves they have to make on the ground. For demoiselle cranes take dancing to the extreme. Demoiselles dig dancing. They dance on a date. They dance with their mate. These cranes are number 5 in the countdown because they just can't stop their dancing feet. Dance is the way to meet your partner for life and the glue that keeps couples together year after year. But birds aren't the only animals that dance. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, people dance. But why is dancing so universally popular? Well, just like demoiselle cranes, we use dance as a way to assess potential mates. There's a theory that women like getting men on the dance floor because it gives them a chance to check out their reproductive fitness. After all, a good dancer has to be physically coordinated and strong.
Oh, yes.
Just the kind of man to help you bring up your children. But one man had to dance like a bird to bring up the children of one of the rarest animals in the world. This is a young whooping crane that's being reared in captivity for release back into the North American wilderness. And this is its surrogate mother. It's actually someone dressed in a sheet, but that's to stop the chicks from thinking that they're human. With the help of a glove puppet, the surrogate parents teach the chicks how to survive in the wild. But these birds also have to learn how to dance. If they don't dance, they don't lay eggs. Cranes are number 5 in the countdown because they have to dance to stimulate their reproductive hormones. And that's why back in 1978, Dr. George Armstrong danced with an imprinted crane called Tex. Luckily, most cranes don't invite humans onto the dance floor. Although everyone has at least one uncle who dances like this.
Number 4.
Our next contender lives by himself in the floodplains of northeast India. He's famous for his bad temper. But then, life's not easy when you're a male Indian rhinoceros. He's number 4 in the countdown because it's a real struggle to find the love of his life. In addition to his bad attitude, he has worse eyesight. A male rhino is so nearsighted that he has to rely on other senses to find true love. The good news is that a rhinoceros has a sense of smell to rival a bloodhound. The bad news is that a romantic rhino has to follow a trail of urine. If a female rhino goes to the toilet a mile away, a male can sniff her out. Perhaps that's why rhinos are so grumpy. How'd you like to have to find the love of your life in the bathroom? The female rhino's as blind as the male and just as antisocial. If anything gets too close for comfort, she'll charge first and ask questions later. That means that a potential date is likely to be confronted by 800 pounds of angry armor plating. So it's no wonder that when a male rhino has sniffed out a potential mate, he approaches with extreme caution. Having finally got close enough to recognize the intruder as a potential mate, the female really plays hard to get. She'll test the male's fitness by running, and running, and running. The female can keep running for several days, all the time leading the male by his nose. But then, all kinds of animals use their nose to find a suitable mate. Even humans can sniff out the perfect partner, thanks to secrets hidden in our armpit. It seems our body odor can tell people more than just when we had our last bath. Scientists have discovered that every person has a distinctive personal smell that's related to a cluster of genes associated with our immune system. And our noses are incredibly sensitive to these subtle smells. Scientists have analyzed individual body odors and discovered that women prefer the smell of men who have different immune system genes from their own. Researchers think that by selecting a mate with a different personal odor, your offspring will have a wider variety of immune response genes and therefore greater protection against infection. But having extracted a male's essence, it's still hard to find the perfect man.
I don't smell anything. Nothing at all.
Sweaty, dirty locker room. Disgusting.
Did you like it?
No, and I don't want to smell it again.
So next time you're on a date, perhaps you should free your armpits by leaving your deodorant at home and give thanks that at least you don't have to select your mate using the same odor trail laid down by the Indian rhinoceros.
We've seen Rhino Romeos, gyrating Juliets, and a muscular ménage à trois. But coming up is the animal that led us into temptation. That's next on Animal Planet's The Most Extreme. Number 3.
For most animals in our countdown of extreme courtship, winter is a time to focus on survival, not sex. But with the arrival of spring, the juices start flowing, and far beneath the ground, number 3 in the countdown starts stirring. For as the sap rises, so do red-sided garter snakes. All 10,000 of them in this snake pit in Manitoba, Canada. The spring sunshine has drawn the garter snakes from their hibernation dens below the ground. The males are the first to emerge, so when a female appears, she may be outnumbered 3,000 to 1. These snakes are number 3 in the countdown because they're so desperate to find a mate that some of these sneaky serpents have found an extreme way to beat the odds. A lone female has made a run for it, but she's pursued by an entourage of smaller males. But the female's not exactly playing hard to get. She's driven the males crazy with a sexy scent she exudes from between her scales. Males usually have a different smell than females, but there's one cunning exception. This is a transvestite. It's a male that's mimicked the smell of the female, much to the delight of other males. As they near a genuine courtship gathering, the fake female breaks away, for he's not interested in the males. His cunning plan is to cause enough confusion in the courtship frenzy to distract his rivals from the real female. It's a way of increasing his chances of having his wicked way with her. But snakes are not the only creatures to use smells to cheat a little. There was a time when humans smelled a lot. Queen Elizabeth was unusual because she took a bath every 3 months, whether she needed it or not. So, to cover up the appalling stench, Elizabethans drenched themselves in perfume. We still use perfume today, and not only to disguise bad body odor. Recent research suggests that we unconsciously select perfumes that amplify our own smell signature, the distinctive odor that reflects the makeup of our immune system. Perfumes are actually making it easier for a potential partner to sniff us out because they contain molecules that mimic the chemicals responsible for our natural body odor. It's just that sometimes these molecules come from bizarre places. This is ambergris, a hard waxy lump made in the guts of sperm whales. It washes up on beaches and, not surprisingly, it smells like whale dung. Yet ambergris contains molecules that mimic those responsible for human smell signatures, which is how it ended up inside our perfumes. Fancy a bottle of eau de sperm whale guts for your birthday? So perhaps snakes aren't so sneaky after all. At least they're happy using their own smells to track down a mate.
Number 2.
Love can be hard to find for some males in the forests of New Zealand. But nobody tries harder than the animal that's number 2 in the countdown. This clearing in the forest is actually a stage prepared by one of the world's loneliest lovers, the kakapo. This giant flightless parrot was one of the rarest birds in the world, so male kakapo on one island had a problem. How do you find one of only 6 females hidden in a forest half the size of Manhattan? The solution is to sing one of the loudest love songs of any bird on the planet. This song's at such a low frequency that you feel it more than hear it. And it's so powerful it can travel up to 3 miles. The male kakapo is number 2 in the countdown because every night for 4 months, he pumps out up to 10,000 of these booming calls, and several thousand whistles as well. But the trouble with being so rare is that no matter how hard the male tries, sometimes there are just no females around to listen. And that's when a male can get a little desperate for love. Some male kakapo have been known to make love to some very strange things, including fallen branches and a very surprised seabird. But then, when you're desperate for love, you'll try anything. Like the kakapo, some humans try singing silly love songs. However, some people use pickup lines rather than love songs to get the attention of a stranger. One group of researchers tested the efficiency of some opening lines on 60 men and 60 women. Men using the line, "I bet I can outdrink you," were nearly 60% less successful than those using, "I'm kind of embarrassed about this, but I'd really like to get to know you." It seems men are less fussy. Women chatting up guys were 100% successful with the opening line, "Hi." If only picking up chicks was as easy for this bird. But not even the best efforts of the lonely kakapo can compare with the determination of the animal that's #1 in the countdown.
We've seen the 9 contenders. They're the best of the best. Only one animal is a more extreme loving machine. It's #1, and it's coming up next on Animal Planet's The Most Extreme. #1.
The most extreme lovers in the countdown can be found in the forests of Australia. Courtship is a deadly game if you're a spider. This is a male St. Andrew's cross spider. And the love of his life is big, powerful, and hungry. He has to take courtship extremely seriously if he wants to stay alive. Keeping well out of biting distance, he plucks out a love song on the strands of her web. If he's lucky, she'll see him as a potential mate and not a meal. It seems to have worked. She's wrapped him in a loving embrace for the moment. But as he mates with her, she's preparing a nasty surprise. She uses that sheet of silk to wrap her food. Male spiders are #1 in the countdown because they risk life and limb for love. This male succeeded and probably thinks himself lucky that he only lost one leg in the process. While most males won't take the extreme risks of the spider, some animals do go a little crazy when they're in love.
Bring on the wind! Big boy, I like what I see. Now you ain't no Ian McGee, but you just nice.
When we meet someone special, we're under the influence of a love drug.
Hey, big boy, Come upstairs if you never
The symptoms we associate with love are actually physiological changes that start in our brain. At the start of a relationship, the brain produces a chemical called phenylethylamine, or PEA. This is a natural amphetamine that stimulates the nervous system like a jolt from a triple espresso. PEA travels down the nerves to produce the symptoms of lovesickness, like butterflies in the stomach and a pounding heart. Sweaty palms and the nervous jitters. But not even the most lovesick human would go to the extreme lengths of a spider. That's because the most extreme lover in the countdown is the red-backed spider. This femme fatale is infamous throughout Australia for her poisonous bite. But she holds a deadly attraction for her puny mate. He may be small, but this male is #1 in the countdown because he really puts his life on the line. His courtship begins with an athletic backflip, which puts his bottom right in front of her enormous jaws. This is extreme bravery because the femme fatale's love bite is full of venom. He's using his own body as a distraction so that he can mate with his hungry lover. And then, before the female's poison can work, the male tears himself free of her deadly embrace. The female just waits and licks her fangs. She knows that this half-eaten, hen-pecked mate will always limp back to her. He climbs straight back in the saddle and somersaults into position. This time, there's no escape. He dies so that his lover gets a good meal to nourish the eggs he's just fertilized. No wonder the spider is #1 in our countdown of extreme lovers. For when it comes to loving, the redback spider really is the most extreme.
Jeff's jumping into a Moroccan adventure.